I don't know if I like this. I feel like if anyone's going to talk shit on GameStop, it should only be me. And it just seems it just seems weird. You guys are like, probably like, screw this guy. But is GameStop worth buying right now? GameStop is down 63% from, which is true. It is down 63% from previous highs. Stay away from this FOMO trap, which again can be true. But there's so much negative news shared by these articles that I wanted to do my part. You guys know that I love talking shit on GameStop, but I feel like if anyone talks shit on it, it should be me, someone that's actively going long on it or actively shorting it. But let's also talk about the good, right? I did short GameStop today. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I made $4,800 shorting it. So very grateful for that. But GameStop is not, as of today, from yesterday's performance and the day before that, it's not really showing progress on the downside. So again, you guys know that I love talking crap on GameStop when it's earned it. So when it pushes up 80% and it crashes, my job is to warn beginners of like, hey, maybe it's not the worst idea to take profits, right? Okay. But then when I see things like this of like, oh, maybe we could have, right? If we break below the moving average and actively continue to show signs of progress on the downside, I will be saying the same thing those articles are saying. GameStop is a shit company. It broke below its support. It's actively selling off. Stay away, right? But that's not necessarily the case, especially a lot of people on X.com. A lot of people are setting up for tomorrow and the next few days with a bunch of different call options because they think that it's set to explode, right? I'm not here to say that I think it's about to explode. All I'm saying is that it is beginning to show signs of a support, right? So it's not showing any more signs of progress on the downside. It's definitely not showing progress on the upside, but what I've noticed is anytime this thing rallies and then it consolidates, it finds its support, and then again builds enough demand down here that it takes off again. The same thing happens. It pulls on back, it consolidates, it builds its support, more hype follows, and again, we all know that it just takes a tweet from Roaring Kitty or from someone influential to really get this thing going. And the same thing happens. It rallies. So now it's just like, okay, we're not making any progress on the downside, so it doesn't make sense for me to short this anymore. If it's not actively selling off, I don't need to short it. I'm very open about that. But if this thing does begin to break above the moving average and show that it's beginning to show signs of progress above $30 to $34, I would 100% entertain the idea of going long on it. Now, let me make this very clear. I have no intention of holding this. I've told you guys from the beginning, I like talking about the good and I like talking about the bad. With that being said, I wouldn't mind putting money into this, maybe 50K, maybe 100K to go long on it. And then once it becomes overbought or begins to show signs of lack of progress or signs of resistance, then I'm going to take profits, right? Just like I would say that any beginner should. This stock is a very risky stock, and when it gets going, yes, it can make a ton of money, but then it also quickly tends to correct itself based off of previous pattern. I mean, I was trading this back in 2021. I was shorting it back then and going long on it when it made sense. The one thing I only focus on is direction, and the one thing that I believe is the only person that should be talking shit on GameStop are those that are actively trading it. Just so when I see all of these articles saying GameStop meme stock mania, is SEC bad stream on repeat, or GameStop sinks as meme trader Roaring Kitty goes quiet. So again, a lot of negative news out there, but the one thing that I want to remind you is that is negative news. And yes, it is down quite a significant amount from $80 per share down to where we're at right now. It is down 68%. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's be open about what it's showing us. But it's not showing progress on the downside. And that is the thing that I really like to focus on. If it's not showing progress on the downside, as long as it holds that, right? As long as it holds that support above $23 and then it begins to work its way back up to that resistance, all it needs is a nice little breakout, maybe a tweet, something to get it going. And again, the rallies do tend to be short-lived, so make sure you have proper entry, exit, stop loss all put in place. But again, I think that we could be setting up for a nice little breakout if we do begin to show signs of a reversal. If we break below that $23 support, then that completely goes out of the window. This thing breaks below $23. That means it's going to break below the moving average on the 4-hour time frame, and it has not done this since the rally. So that would be the first time that it breaks below that. And then at that point, I would say, okay, this hype is no longer there. It's best to probably just stay away. So again, I love being open with you guys. I like talking about the good. I like talking about the bad. bad. I don't like to sugarcoat it. I know some of you guys completely don't like when I talk about GameStop, but I wanted to make sure that it's not that I have your back, but that I wanted you to be aware that I don't mind talking about some of the potential that GameStop does offer as a technical trade. So I hope that earned your thumbs up. I would love to trade this tomorrow, especially if the setup ends up presenting itself during tomorrow's live trading session. So I trade live every single morning. You get to see all of my good trades. You get to see all of my bad trades. And the beautiful thing about that is that if you're someone that learns best by watching other people do, I think you would learn a lot during these live sessions. So again, second link in the description down below. It's designed for complete beginners. And if you sign up today, you can watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow. And it's 50% off right now. I appreciate your time. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.